The idea of collecting anonymous information about crop production and prices dates all the way back to President George Washington, who collected data from a few large growers in the Mid-Atlantic region in 1791. The first official census of agriculture was held in 1840, at a time when commodity buyers knew far more about the current prices of crops and livestock than individual farmers. Ever since then, a crucial role of the government crop reports and the census has been to give farmers information to level the economic playing field.
The way the data helps the farmer, it helps them to make a decision on their operation. So in a given year, they may look at the data and make some decisions for their operation, what would be best for them. And we have ag businesses that use the data, and they look at the data to see what's the best services for the farmers. And also the data is used for the Farm Bill.
Herman Ellison is state statistician for the National Agricultural Statistics Service in Virginia, a branch of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. He's in charge of statewide outreach and coordination of the 2022 Census of Agriculture, which begins late this year. He says the information is used by federal, state, and local governments, as well as farmers, to see trends and adapt to change.
Yes, it is a benefit for the farmers, and also it's a benefit for the community as well. I mean, it tells what crops are out there. It's if they want to go to a farmer's market, or build a farmer's market in that area, they can go to this data and it would justify why they would need a farmer's market in that area. When they look at the data, if it says that we had this number of operations that grew this particular crop, then it may be something that the farmer would look at to say, hey, maybe I should diversify my farm and then look into growing this crop or having this livestock on my farm.
Virginia conservation experts are a key consumer of the census findings. Lynn Graves is president of the Virginia Soil and Water Conservation Districts Association, a local government agency with branches in every community. He says they follow census information very closely.
It's more for information for the Soil and Water Association to try to target where we need to target beneficial aid to whether it's getting cows out to stream or nitrogen reduction in row crops. So that's why it's really important for this census. You can see if people are changing from cattle farms to croplands or croplands to cattle farms, so then you can look at programs for the association for soil and water districts to end up helping the farmers. So it is important for farmers to fill it out.
Soil and water conservation districts have been around almost a century. They're the boots on the ground for distributing cost-share funding to farmers for conservation projects and providing professional advice to growers and homeowners alike on reducing runoff. Graves says it's vital that money goes to the right projects.
Right now, the state is giving lots of money to farmers to implement these programs, whether it's fencing out streams or any nitrogen reduction, because the end goal is to help the Chesapeake Bay, and right now the nitrogen is the biggest issue of going into the bay. So that's the biggest program. The General Assembly is offering a lot of money for the soil and water districts to put on the ground. And soil and water districts have been very good at getting conservation practices on the ground through the state of Virginia.
Graves says close to 90% of Virginia farmers now use no-till practices to avoid breaking up their soil every spring. But that's just one tool to control erosion. His family raises apples and cattle in the Blue Ridge Mountains and can experience serious flash floods. That's a different erosion challenge that farmers in the flat fields of eastern Virginia have to deal with.
With the Soil and Water Association, we have a TAC group that gets together, Technical Assistance Committee, and they look at different programs, trying to create new programs to help the farmer, so they can look at the census, see whether it's more row crops now, more cattle farming in different areas, and then you might target different programs for those areas, even though it is statewide, but the whole state is different. So some, down towards the flatland, it's going to be more row crops, whereas up here, it's going to be more conservation with cattle, fencing out streams. But you want to get as good of an estimate as you can to help the state. I mean, it's also good for the Department of Agriculture to know what is actually going on in the state of Virginia.
The old adage, information is power, still rings true for the Census of Agriculture. Whether it's used to help producers identify marketing trends or for conservation groups to pinpoint the best place to spend their money, the census has an important role to play in Virginia agriculture. In Madison County, Virginia, I'm Ricky Gibson reporting.